Alright guys, picking up where we left off, we have a game that has the ball that you can bounce around. It's got some score, and every time you break a brick you get some points. It's got a timer, and we're going to make a couple of adjustments here. You can see that whenever I stretch my screen, it just lets me see more, and I can like follow the ball going down. I want this to not do that. I want it to stretch and the game just get bigger whenever I stretch the screen so it fits my window. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to project settings, and you're looking for one that says display and then window. Scroll down and it says aspect and mode. The stretch is what you're going to look at. Is you're going to under mode, you're going to select this and you're going to do viewport. So whenever you stretch this, it's just going to stretch the viewport. There's a lot of changes in here you could make. You could give yourself a bigger window to work with. We're going to leave most of this stuff the same, and we're going to try this. So now when I hit play on the game, you can see when I stretch it, it changes the shape of stuff. And then if I maximize it, now my game just gets larger. The screen's bigger. Everything just got bigger. And so it doesn't distort what's happening. It just makes it where it can fill up the whole screen. And then whatever the size of the window is the size of my game here. Alright, so that's a cool change that we have. Now we're also going to add our first button into the game, and we're actually going to add our main menu screen. I'm not going to add like a background just yet, but we are going to work on the actual button to start this game. So make sure your stuff is saved, and up here at the top, just like you were opening up a new a new browser window, you're going to hit this, and it's going to give you a whole new stuff, a whole new game. What it looks like, it's called a whole new scene. And don't freak out, you didn't lose your stuff. Up here, this tab, you can go back and forth to get to your old stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a user interface, and here we go. And it looks like it already stretched the box to fill us in. So we have our user interface here. We can change it and make it a different size, but we want it to fit the screen, which looks like it was defaulted to that. So looks good. Got our stuff. Control Z undoes if you were messing around with the size like I was. Let's click on control, and we are going to add a button. B-U-T-T-O-N. We have a button here. I'm going to pull this button into the center of my screen, and I'm going to stretch it and make it how big I want it to be. There we go. And I am also going to add something else. I want to put some text on here. Now you can type right here and just write it in there, but I want to add a label. We've been using labels, and I'm going to go ahead and use a label. So I'm going to select the button, and then I'm going to do a label, and this is going to be my start. So that should say start. No, I got to put that over here. Okay, so I got the label. I called it start. So all I did was went to label, click that, and added it. Okay, now I'm going to make this the size I want it. I'm going to make it this size. I want to make it this big. And we might end up making some changes to this, but I'm going to put it right in the center. And I'm going to say start. Let's see if I could fit it to this, and then I'll use the scale and I'll make it bigger. Now there are probably a lot better ways to do this, but we are just learning for the first time, so let's just get it done. Okay, so we got start, and we have our button. Now we need some code on our button here so that it will actually do something. So I'm going to add a script. Load. Oh, you'll see all that because I We're going to be starting fresh for you guys. Okay, so we got our button. We got our code, which is nothing in there. And we want to wire this button. Meaning, and when I say wire, I mean add some like special stuff to it. We want to make it where whenever somebody pushes the button. So I'm selected on the button. I'm going to go over here to the inspector and node part, and I'm going to click signals. And I'm going to say when the button is pressed, connect, and I'm going to connect this. And I'm just connecting it back to itself. So whenever you push the button, we want to do something. I also want to do something else. I also want to add another function here. I want it to do whenever my mouse is over the button. So when my mouse enters this button, I want to do something. So I'm going to click mouse entered, connect, and connect it to itself. So now I have button pressed, but when mouse enters it, and then I'm going to add one more. And then when the mouse leaves the button, so I'm going to do the mouse exits the button. Okay, so we have, and I'm going to connect it to itself. So we have, when you push the button, something's going to happen. When your mouse enters this box, something happens. And when your mouse exits this box, something happens. Okay, cool. So this should give you a pretty good range of things you can do to the button. So first off, let's make it where it sends us to the correct game. I'll show you where the code can be located, and if you want to copy paste it, I'm going to type all this stuff in, but if you want to copy paste this stuff, you can do that too. If you go to Neo and go to the breakout code, we have a button here. It says control button. Here's the code I'm going to use, and if that's all you need for this video, you can feel free to go from there and do that. But I'm going to continue going over this, and we're going to type this in here. So the first thing we're going to do is we can't forget this very top part. It says extends button, because this is a button. This pretty much just tells us how it, what the code is working with. You're working with a button, so pull all the button functions in. Excuse me. So when the button is pressed, I want to get a tree. And a tree is, you're going to the tree, which is like over here, which is like getting your stuff that you've already created, and you're going to the main files, and you're looking for something in your game folder. So now we're getting something from our main folder, and when we find it, we're going to change the scene to that. So we're looking for something over here, which is what this says, and then we're gonna change our scene, meaning get off of this main menu screen and go somewhere else. We are going to go to the level. We're going to go to level 1.tscn. Now, how do you know what the extension is, and how do you know what to call it? Over here in the left hand side, this is what we've been primarily using as our main scene in our beginning game, level 1. So if you see that this part it corresponds to your game that you're using. So level 1.tscn is this guy right here. So when you push the button, it's gonna go to your files over here, and it's going to change your game to this file. And what file is it looking for? It's looking for this one, so it's right there. Okay, cool. Now, when your mouse enters the button, just meaning like when your mouse hovers over the top of the button, when it gets inside of that box, we want something to happen. We want to get the node, and we're getting the start node. And I'll discuss this too. And we're going to change the text. We're going to set text to, and then you actually don't have to type string. I think I did it on there. I'm going to not do it on this version where you're typing it in. So if you're actually watching the video, your stuff's going to look different. And I commend you for doing this. Ready, gamer. Okay, so now this says get node start. Over here is your nodes. So it's looking for something. It's looking for the start node. Here's start, capital S, looks good. And then it says change the text. That's what this says. Set the text. So go inside of here and make this thing say ready gamer. Just like that. Okay, cool. So now this says when my mouse enters the button, it's going to say ready gamer. And then whenever we take our mouse off the button, we want something else to happen. Basically the same thing. We're going to copy this, and instead of it saying ready gamer, it's just going to say start game. Start game. So exact same thing it did here. When your mouse is on the button, it says ready gamer, and whenever it's not on it, it says start game. So let's see if this works. So we have not saved anything yet, so you're going to want to push Control S, and now this window is going to come up, and it says you haven't saved me yet. Save me and give me a name. We're going to call this our main menu. Main menu. So this is our starting of our game, our main menu. Save. Now this is now our main menu. So if you push this big play button here, it's going to start you out on your main scene, which I think we said is level 1. So look, that's not the screen we just were at. This is not the main menu we were working on. This is our game. So there's a couple things we need to do. If you push this is going to play this scene, the one that we just made. It's going to play this start button scene. So if we push this, it's going to play that scene. And then if we're here and we push this one, it'll play this scene. If we push this main button, this is start from the very beginning. Show me what the beginning project is. So let's hit this button and we'll test and see if our scene is even working. So here we are. We have our start button. When we hover over it, it says ready gamer, and then if you hover off of it, it says start game. And you'll notice there the text is bigger than the button, so it looks like we got some work we need to do to this to make our button the font stay inside of it, but hey, we got that. Now what happens if we click it? Boom, we are into our game now. So that is the main part of what needs to happen. You can adjust your text and you can make some other changes. I'm also going to do one more thing. I am going to set our main scene. We're going to redirect it to this new start menu. So when I hit play, it's going to do this. So I'm going to go to project settings, project, and then project settings. And I'm looking for run. Up here at the very top it says run. This is choosing what's our main scene. What is our first scene? Our first scene is right here, our main menu. Close, close. Now if we hit this play button here, the big one, it's going to start us out on the start screen. We're going to click it. Yes, we're ready, gamers. And we're started. Cool. Now we can adjust the text and do some stuff with that. Let's see if we can fix this. I haven't really messed a whole lot with this so let's see if we can just make some slight adjustments here. I don't know how well this is going to help us out, but pretty much just playing around with the button is going to be... Oh, I know what we need to do. We need to put the actual words in there so we can see where it's going to go. Start game. So now we can see where it's going to fit. And then we can also shrink it just a little bit. Ugh, that's not shrinking it, Mr.Eversole. That's messing it up. Okay. Come on. Work with me here. Okay. Right there. Alright, play. Start game. Ready gamer. Maybe we should do the bigger one. Let's do the bigger one. Ready gamer. So now we can see where it's gonna fall. And there are definitely some other things you can do. Like you could make it where whenever you hover over it, it changes the font size and then maybe puts it, centers it, keeps it centered. I'm still learning a lot of this stuff, so... Okay, so we know what it's supposed to say. Start game. Alright, so play. There we go. Alright, that's all of this video has been kind of long. but it's been pretty useful. So, all right, so now we have our main scene, our new main menu here. We got a button, and the button can react to us, and you can push play. Cool. See you guys.